going to kind of go through a high-level product tour of Docstar. I'm going to say that the reason we're doing this is because we're going to be updating our cloud. So anybody that is on our VRC cloud, Docstar cloud, you're going to be getting this upgrade probably at the end of this month. So we wanted to do this presentation for everyone now to make sure that you know some of the UI, user interface changes that are taking place with this application. Okay, so let's hop right into it. So what I'm going to say also is anybody that has an active support contract, you get free unlimited training. I provide that training. You see here my dot cards has all of my contact information. It also has a link to schedule that training. So you would, go to my calendar and schedule an hour training to start. So if there is anybody interested, my contact information is there. You certainly can call into support, and there are a number of different help files, which I'll show you today. But primarily everything you're going to see today is a high-level product tour. So key points, many of you that are on our cloud, not on-premise, you may have noticed with PIF being acquired or its assets being acquired by VRC on December 18th of last year, we had to move the domain. So unfortunately, some of you may have experienced some service interruptions because of that. If you have any questions, our support is Docstar support at vitalecm.com. So the new support line is Docstar support at vitalecm.com, and that's how you get in touch with us. I will say we are adding a phone number. I know that's been frustrating. So I'll be your escalation point. If you're not getting the level of service you need, please reach out to me and I'll make sure that you do. But I will say this webinar is a high-level product tour. It's not full training. Customers typically only use about 10% of the Docstar application, if that. Docstar has a lot of feature functionality. Yes, you can record it. We are recording this meeting as well, so you'll be sent this recording after this demonstration. So again, customers with active support agreements, we provide free unlimited training. You have new people that are coming in. You need some admin training. You don't like how security's set up. Let us know, and we will make sure that you have the resources necessary. So by the end of this month, you're going to be seeing this new version. So the version is 24, and I don't know if we're going to 24.1 or 2. But the first 2 digits is the year. So this would be a 2024 version. Currently, our cloud is on 23.2, which is a 2023 version. We always stay a version behind just so we make sure that you're not stuck in a bad version. Anyone that is on premise that wants to get this, you just email, if you have an active support agreement with us, you email Docstar support at vitalecm.com and we'll schedule an upgrade for you. If you don't have support, you would have to, but you have soft care, you can request the upgrade and apply it yourself. All right, so so what's new? We're going to actually show this, but new look and feel. So from a UI perspective, you're going to notice some changes. I don't know that they're drastic, but the big change here is search and view tab versus the old retrieve tab. So you used to only have the retrieve tab at the top. Now you're going to see a search and view. And so this allows you to actually go between the actual image and the result set or the search results. I like that. Another nice new feature in 24.1 and above is the document and data exporter. So to export all your data and documents out of the system, you can do that free of charge whenever you want. You get up to, if you're doing on our cloud, you get up to 500 gigs free. Again, if you have more than that, let me know. I can assist with that. But we're going to show where you actually install that. User-defined tables, probably you'll never use this. This is a great tool for us. VRC is a value-added reseller. So as a result, we don't make the product, but as integrators, this user-defined table is really helpful for our cloud customers. So anybody that's on the Docstar cloud, we can actually, if you're doing things like workflow automation, we can store staging tables in the database, which for most people will be like, what is that? That's not even helpful. I'll leave that. That's kind of a more advanced feature. Automation Studio. So this is something that was, I think, in 23. This allows us to basically hook in to Workato. Many of you probably have never heard of that or what it is. It's an iPaaS platform. Think about Workato is a collection of integrations to all the popular CRM, ERP, accounts payable systems, line of business systems out there. So if you wanted to integrate Docstar with Oracle Financials or Dynamics Business Central, that's what Automation Studio is. It allows us to create recipes and workflows to move data bidirectionally, documents and data bidirectionally. Again, a lot of you might not need that, but if you're looking to do some level of automation beyond just scan, index, retrieve, that's a nice little tool. Okay, and then they're deprecating, and for those of you see legacy reports and reports. So the legacy reports used to use Microsoft reporting services. That's kind of been deprecated. It's going away, and they've replaced it with Exago BI. It's a full BI business intelligence tool that's built into the core application. Anybody that had the ReportWorks module will get this in their new system. All right, so there aren't a lot of modules. Most modules come out of the box with Docstar, but if you the main ones are advanced workflow, where you can do multi-step approvals or multi-step workflows. You have barcodes. PackageWorks is great. We've been selling this primarily when you have active HR, human resource type employee files. This is a great little tool. We also use it for things like shipments and transportation and keeping kind of all the documents associated with a shipment in one holistic view. Data link, this allows us to push and pull data between line of business systems. This is one of the most common things to do. I want to put in a block lot map for a municipality and then pull in the street address associated with it. Some of the other tools here that you might not know, we have full DocuSign integration. So if you're doing any type of policy and procedure type workflow where you need a full PKI, public key encrypted based electronic signature using DocuSign, that's what you see here. And that's a small module purchase. And lastly, the Docstar IDC, Intelligent Data Document Capture. If you thought, hey, I don't want to have to sit there and key data every time I scan or import a document, can it just do it automatically? Well, that's what that is. So it's a document capture capability with this smart OCR, optical character recognition. It basically allows us to read and extract data from unstructured documents. So we'll show that quickly today, just to give you kind of a high level. All right, so let's go into capture. The first thing we're going to do is talk about capture. All right. So Docstar utilizes what we call the Docstar client. It's a little application that runs typically on a PC and allows you to do a lot of things. Okay. So if you don't have the client and you want more functionality at capture time, this is how you would do it. I'm going to show you where you go to install it. If you need this installed, just call our support. They'll show you how to do this. It's not hard. But where do I find the Docstar client to install? You will find that on your Capture tab, and you will also find it in your user preferences, and that's where you will install the client. Now, once you install it, there's two tabs you need to configure, which again, I'm not going to go through here. But what can I actually do once I've installed the client? So first, any type of scanning. You're in our cloud or you're even on premise, you need the client to drive the scanner. So your local peripheral scanner. Also, if you want to use our Microsoft Office integration, our print import engine, if you're using the capture tab and you want to browse, and I'm going to show this as part of the demonstration. If you want to go and select 5 documents or 20 documents or 100 documents, you need the client. Without the client, you can only select 1 document to import at a time. Auto view is a little feature on capture where when you select a document or documents, they immediately pop up on the screen for you to index. You need the client for that, as well as pre-processing, the ability to render those documents. It also is for your batch importing. You're going to see in my demonstration, I have a little desktop folder, and I just want to drag and drop files into it. You need the client for that. And also, I will mention, and a lot of people don't use this, we do have the functionality of push filing. So you can actually remotely control Docstar through the Docstar client. This is for our 102 or 201 webinar where we go into push filing as it relates to capture. So the Docstar client needs to have a Windows operating system. It can't be a Mac or a Linux. Again, most of you probably don't use that. But you also need to have this client installed somewhere in your network. So if you are on our cloud, you need to have the client somewhere in your network to broker all of these different things that I mentioned. Okay. So let's talk about, there's 6 different ways to capture documents into Docstar. One is the desktop scan. We'll go into that in a little more detail. So this is a unique feature. I like this. A lot of ECMs today aren't giving you full desktop scan capture. Some require a thick client. Here, we're just using the Docstar client to run the peripheral. You don't need to open up any ports or security, and it makes it really easy to capture. You can import through the capture tab. There's a little browse button there. And then you have the Office print, and then what I'll consider our batch import. So we can monitor emails or we can monitor folders. Okay, so like a folder in your network. So we're going to show how some of these features today. As it relates to desktop scanning, a few things. One, VRC does no longer support selling scanners. We just not set up to do that, but you can go online and find any scanner that supports Twain and ISIS, not the Terra group, but the scan driver. This is basically most everything out there except for those Fujitsu Ricoh scan snaps that don't have that capability. Okay, there is a lot of benefits to desktop scanners over those multifunction devices. So I would say, if you are doing any level of back file or you have a lot of documents that are coming in, a desktop scanner is going to be so efficient versus walking to a photocopier using one of those brother multifunction machines. The desktop scanner has dual pick rollers. They have multi-feed detection, all those kinds of things built in. So when you are capturing, and we're going to go into some of these settings, you can see that settings dialog here. This is in the client itself. There's a lot of different settings here. Okay, so first, we prefer black and white. If you're scanning documents, black and white's a 1 or 2-bit document. If you have to scan in color, that's fine. You're just going to be chewing up a lot more storage space. So any type of color scan is going to eat up, probably 10 to 20 times larger a file than a black and white. Okay, 300 DPI, 240 to 300 DPI is sufficient for OCR. If you want a smaller image, 200 DPI, which is the default resolution, is fine as well. And this is going to be the clarity of that scanned image. The higher the DPI, the higher quality, but the larger the file size. So out of the box, you have 3 kinds of separation capabilities, whether you're in an import or scan, and that is page count, every page I want to separate or every 2 pages. Blank page, we're using a blank page separator. And then when a barcode and when a barcode value changes, you can separate. You do need the barcode license to be able to do that. Now, you do have things like remove blank pages, which is for that blank page separation. So if you put a piece of copy paper in between your documents, every time we hit that piece of blank copy paper, it will separate. You see there blank page threshold and blank page margins. Those are all around how white that particular separator page is. There are some basic image enhancement capabilities. If you are capturing PDFAs for municipalities, do not use any image enhancement. Okay, that will take away the PDFA and make it a PDF image. Okay, so just know that. We support duplex scanning. We do support duplex and then removing the back of it. So if you have the front of it is not blank and the back is blank, we can actually delete the back of it by scanning duplex. Excuse me. All right, so batch import. Okay, this is something a lot of people might not know about, but batch import is essentially our ability to monitor a folder on a time basis. So when you do that, basically we can monitor for, documents that come in. We can monitor for, images with a data file that comes in, or we can monitor an email for that matter. So there's a lot of different functionality that you can do here. Now you can schedule this to run immediately or on a time basis. So I'm going to kind of show this as it relates to I'm just going to drag a file kind of in directly into the solution. So what I'm going to do here is we're going to now talk a little bit about the Office integration and the print driver. A lot of people don't know that this exists. It does. And, we're going to have, these particular documents available. All right. So the last thing I want to talk a little bit about is the intelligent capture. I'm going to show all these things next. So if you thought like, hey, I just want to stick a bunch of paper or images in a scanner or monitor a folder, and it just kind of figures out what it is and extracts all the data without me having to key it in, that's what intelligent capture is. Okay, so Docstar IDC, intelligent document capture. No training. We can utilize pre-built knowledge bases. It can learn from that, and I'm going to kind of show that now. So these are the 7 different things I'm going to show as part of this particular process. So let's first thing here is let's get into we're going to go, this is the kind of the new interface as you've seen, and you notice here at the top, search and view are now replacing retrieve. But the first thing we're going to do is go to the capture tab, and you're going to see first thing is on the top in the scan dialog. You'll see how this EPICOR ECM is blue? That means my client is installed. Now, if it wasn't, it would be grayed. And if I click on it, that little link, you'll see install, and this is how you install it. Physically install the client, okay? Another way to do that is up here in the top right. If you go to user preferences and you go to, I think, environment, you'll see right here is that same install button. Okay, so that's how you get the client. Now, once you have the client installed, this is what it looks like, as you see here. Okay, so once the client's installed, you have these the login tab and the configure tabs will configure this for you. But this is how essentially when you're scanning or you're capturing, how does it know to go up to the cloud? And you'll see here that's the URL that it uses, and this client is what's brokering that. Now, if I close the client, you're going to see it goes away. And you'll notice that's grayed out. And a lot of the things, auto view, pre-processing, none of these things, they're all grayed out now. Okay. So let me open the client again. Oops. Core client. Okay, and now once it comes back online, you're going to notice that it's blue, and look, all the things are now available. Okay, so let's look at here at the top is our scanning. So when you create a scan profile, as you notice here in the settings, you can just hit new, or I could hit new, or I can edit an existing one. This is where we're going to come in and set up our scan profiles. The import profiles are similar, but they don't have as many features. So this is kind of, the resolution I talked about, the page size. So if you do enable auto size detection, this page size really doesn't matter. So if you do scan like an ID size card, it will auto size that particular document. Duplex, you want to scan front and back. I would suggest you use remove blank pages if you're going to do that. So you save on storage space so that you're not putting in, you're scanning front and back and the back is blank. You don't really need that. Let's get rid of it so we can use the remove blank pages. The blank page threshold's all around how white that page is. I usually change this to 10. And then how inward from the margin do we want to look? So we usually increase that as well. Again, you do have some despeckled, deskew, and then your different separation options. So there's not a lot here, but you could create these different profiles essentially. So when you are scanning, it will allow you to, conform to that type of scanned image. Now, on the right here, you'll notice prompt to continue. That is designed for if you have an automatic document feeder, ADF, on your scanner, and you have a 100-page document, but it only fits 50 in at a time, you'll use your prompt to continue. You'll notice auto view is here. It's also here on the import. So we're actually going to do the import. So on the import, you'll notice pre-process. This is allowing us to render the document. So when we capture that document, it'll automatically prompt us with the rendered image. Now, if I hit the options here, it gives you similar options as we saw in the scan dialog. Obviously, it's not scanning, so we don't have DPI. We don't have duplex. Those are concepts of importing. So let's now do a quick import here. I'm going to hit the browse button, and here I have an HR document. So I'm going to hit the application, and you'll notice with the auto view on in the pre-process on, it's immediately going to pop up on the screen for me. Okay. If I don't have that on, so if I say upload here, you're going to see with auto view, it pops up on the screen immediately. Okay. If I didn't, it would go into my workflow queue and I'd have to click over here on my workflow. But this just makes it really easy. You'll notice also, by default, workflow is usually like down here. I hate that. So I usually like to drag my workflow accordion right to the top. You can just drag these accordions right to the top. So I have all my filing instructions right there. Okay. And then when I want to capture the name, I certainly could just type in Brent, like that. Or we could use Lasso OCR. Again, you have to have the client for this. Okay, you're going to notice here on the recognition, once you hit this once and you see this little check next to OCR shortcut, that means I could just put my cursor in the box and then just drag a box around the name or the value I want to extract, and it will do it. Okay, you can also do that in the fields below here. And then once I hit submit, that is now, imported into the solution. Okay. All right, so you'll notice here, very simplistic. That was a capture using my imports. Now let's do what I call a drag and drop. So if we come down to our client here, you're going to notice I have a batch import tab. So this allows us to look at a directory. Okay, so what I did was I just said I have this folder here on my desktop, send to Docstar, right? Which is a shortcut to this folder here. And then anytime I drag or drop anything in there, it's going to delete it and it's going to bring it into the contracts workflow. And it's going to run every 15 seconds. So this is a very easy thing to set up. So I'm just going to open, let me grab a document here. We got this. I'm just going to take this NDA and copy there. Okay, so you're going to see it's in this folder, and then basically every 15 seconds, this folder gets monitored, and then it will automatically bring that document into the solution with no manual intervention. So essentially, it's just a quick and easy way. Certainly, you can go to the Capture tab, hit the import, and do the same thing. But essentially, and there you go, it's left the box. So now if we go into Docstar here and we go to our workflow, so refresh, you'll see here at 10:25 a.m. is that particular document. Okay, and you see this is now it prompts me for the metadata I want. So that's what we call drag and drop. That works well with anything. So if you're using a photocopier, you just want to monitor, and again, this is local to my machine because it's a C drive. But if you had a network drive out there, you wanted to monitor, you also notice if I go to my new, I could do email monitoring as well. So this is where we can monitor our email box. This is not for your personal mail, right? This is for an inbox like contracts at, AP invoices at. These are process mailboxes that we might want to monitor, okay? All right, so the Office integration, before I get there, to install the Microsoft Office integration, which I'm going to run here, you simply just click this Office integration button. The print import, which I'm going to show next. So when you do the Office integration, it adds this ribbon bar into your Office, and then the print import, which I'm going to show, and then the document exporter. So if you want to export your documents, just install this document exporter. So that's in the modules tab there. All right, so let's take a look. And once you install it, now you can see I have it here. I'm going to click this little. So once you click save, if you have a cloud tenant, it's going to prompt you once. Once you authenticate, then you don't have to continue to authenticate. So I'm going to log in here. Okay, and now it's going to prompt me with the client dialog. What is this? Okay, so I just select contracts. I come in and say, I'm going to just say webinar here and hit upload. And that is now a document in the contracts workflow. Okay, but it's a Word document, so it saves it as this native application. Now, if I come in here and I do print, we could do the same thing, but we use the Docstar print import engine. Okay, and what this does is it creates a PDF, not a Word document. So you'll see here, again, same dialogue. We'll go in, we'll put webinar in here. And I'll just use the convert to text and hit upload. And now that's a PDF in the system. So if we close this now and we open up Docstar and we go to our workflow queue, you should see here is our one from 1027. Here's the contract, the Word one, and here is the PDF version. And you're noticing here image processing, and you see that it then shows the image. That's what the client is doing. It's taking that Word file or that PDF, and it's rendering it into our viewer control. And the document viewer control now allows us to do things like page manipulation, annotations, reordering, deleting, moving pages. So we can also then view 70 plus different formats that you might not have on your computer to view. Like if you have, Word 2012 or something like that, and you want to view it, the doc viewer will do that. Okay, and then lastly, our IDC or IDP engine. So that's this here. This is what we call IDC. Again, lots of different capture capabilities. Here we can go and grab a set of invoices. So I'm going to kind of just show quickly a binder document. So we're going to take this one set of invoices. So we have one PDF with 4 or 5 different invoices in it. It then uploads it, and then we train the system of where to extract relative data. So the core issue with most of these systems or in Docstar is you can't say, you can only say, look in the top corner and read the computer generated text. Now, here we're not using zone templates. We're using neural learning. So that one PDF file gets separated into, I think it's 5. So you see here, the first 2 pages were actually merged together. So there's 5 different invoices in that one PDF file, and then it broke them out. Every time we look at the invoice number, as you can see here, we look at the next page. Oh, invoice number is the same. Merge those together. Then we look at the next one. Oh, invoice number's changed. Separate. And as you notice, it will automatically extract all that information, even the line item detail. As you can see here, it's created this smart grid. So it knew how to de-interlace all the lines on an invoice. And as you know, every vendor sends you a different looking vendor invoice. So here it made a mistake on the PO number. So all I have to do is come up to the top and click PO number, and now it remembers that. So point forward, I don't need to retrain that. Now here, it got the tax wrong. Okay, so I'm going to right click on that, remove that region, tell it it's wrong, say, hey, that's the sales tax, which should be 0. That's correct. Move on to the next one. Okay, now if, for instance, the table didn't come in, this is how you train it. The table, grab the description, quantity, unit price, total. And now on the second line, it will automatically populate everything. So the benefit of IDC is primarily around the ability to automate the capture process to remove the data entry labor or data entry assist you as part of that process. Okay. So moving on, we're going to get into search now. This is the major change in the interface. So you could search from any internet browser. Searching does not have any impact on the client. You don't need the Docstar client to search. And you could be on a mobile device, a Mac, an Apple Mac, Linux, Windows, doesn't matter. Okay, so the new feature here is you see the tiles and all the accordions have now been kind of scrunched up into a single interface, which we're going to show. So some new things. I really like this. One is the favorites, which you're going to see in the search, the nav bar on the left. The ability to easily have different columns per saved search, and then make these searches available to everyone. So prior, we could only allow like my workstation or my profile, my login. If I customize a search, it was only available to me. Now administrators have the ability to allow others to use it. Okay, and as part of that, you know, really nothing's changed from a functionality perspective other than kind of the UI and that ability to kind of share. For those of you not that you didn't, you're on our cloud or that you expose your Docstar to the internet, you do have the ability to use the iOS or Android Docstar app. So this will allow you on the go to be able to capture. So you can use your camera to capture documents, be able to respond to approvals. So if you're on the road and you have approvals, you can do this. And then you also, excuse me, have the ability to search. Okay, so the mobile app is out on the iOS Android Play Store. Somewhat, it's still there. So from a searching, and I say searching approval, it's really not searching, but you do have the ability to request mobile approvals. The nice piece about this is they don't have to be a Docstar user. And again, there's a small setup here. If you want to use this, you can contact support. It's a quick and easy setup. But this is great for external approvals. So if you have the ability, this will be sent to somebody's email. They don't have to authenticate, but this does not work with the mobile app. It's a separate request mobile approval for non-authenticated users. Okay. So that's a nice feature. A lot of people don't know about that. All right, so let's get into a demonstration here. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a new search. We'll show how to filter the searches, how to save the custom columns, sorting, and then related documents, which is a really cool tool. So let's now take a look at Docstar. Okay. So let's go to our search tab, and this is that new interface. You'll notice you don't have those 3 accordions anymore. You have the tiles at the top. Okay, and then if I show this area, you'll notice the favorite searches area over here. Okay, now first, from a kind of a dialogue, they've kind of meshed everything in here. So the first thing I can do is I can create a new search, and we'll call this test HR. And you could add a category. So you notice favorite searches here. You have these different categories. You don't have to put a category, but this is HR related. So I'm going to go human resources. And do I want to include column preferences? What does that mean? So in HR, I have custom fields like employee name, employee ID, data hire, data terminate, whatever those are. I want to include those when I search. I want those columns to show. Okay. And then public, can everybody see this or can only my account see this? Okay. So you do have to have rights, but you'll notice you could actually, make this search available to certain groups, company wide, or just for my account. And then favorites. Do you want it to show up in this favorites area? Yes, I do. And do you want a tile at the top? That's what this tile thing. So if I hit tile, you're going to notice I can put a color, I can put a logo, and I can put a warning count. So say, for instance, there's 4 documents in, this particular search that are returned. I want it to be red. Warn me, it's red. Okay, so we'll just come over here. I'm actually going to just say, let's just use this one. Okay, and we hit save. And so you can see here, test HR is now over here. You have these little, you can move them. Unfortunately, you can't move them around. But you then have under HR, you have test HR, okay, as a public search. Okay, well, let's go in and actually modify this because I want to just search by employee name. So we're going to type in employee name is equals to, I'll just say Brent. Okay, and then we search, and now it only returns 26 documents. Okay, well, I only want it to be in the HR document. I don't look anywhere else. Let's search that. All right, that's 25. All right, I don't want to look at anywhere else. Okay, well, I want some custom columns now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to use my column chooser, and I want the employee name field. So we want that to come in here, and I don't want the keywords field, so I'm going to do that. So now you could see I have employee name, and I also want, let's also add the document type. Okay, document type. I think I have the right one. No, I don't have the right one. So for time, we'll just leave it at that. Okay, so now at the top, you'll see this little save icon. And we'll hit save. Okay, so now let's just say I go to a pending invoice one. You notice how when I go to pending invoices, now I have invoice number, vendor name. If I go to my HR, test HR, it doesn't show me invoice number and vendor name. It shows me employee name. Okay, now by default, you could have this minimized. Okay. And then, for instance, if it's not Brent, it's John. Let's do John. You just change out that value there. Now, you can do a number of different things. One, you can share this. Okay, so for instance, say you want, to have somebody share. I want to notify Chuck and let him know that he can have this search. You can share it. Okay. You can add new ones. You can edit the existing one and come back in here and edit this. I don't want a tile. I hit the save, the tile goes away. Okay. Now search terms, this is the old text box. You'll notice up here, it's the same thing as this. So if I'm looking for Brent here, it's all it's doing is just putting that here. So if you wanted just to do text searching, you could just know that you'll see a search here and search here. These are mutually exclusive from one another. Okay. Whatever you put up here, you need to search and erase here. If you're doing it here, you use this search button. Okay. So these are mutually exclusive from one another. This basically just does text searching. Okay. It's not you running anything other than just look for the word Brent in every document. I don't care where it is, right? So essentially you can do the same thing up here. Now, by default, there's auto wildcard. So we put Brent. You notice I'm not putting an asterisk here. That is on by default. So when I look for Brent, it's going to find Brent, Brent Wessler, Brent Smith, Brent anything. Okay. This isn't a new feature. It's been around for a while, but I like this. It's called recent documents. Okay, so you'll notice here I have recent documents, and then it returns those documents. Now, what is recent? So if you go to user preferences and you go to search, you're going to see this recent documents. So I put 1440 minutes, which is 1 day. So this is going to show you day-old documents. So that's kind of a nice thing. So it's a quick search to basically just show me what's come in today. Now you could also do created today, where you basically do the same thing on a save search, where you just use the system field created on is today. So you're going to notice, in addition to all of your custom fields, address, invoice number, you're going to have things like modified by, created by, or created on. And these are all system generated fields. So if I did created by, and this is a system field, I can say, it's created by me. Let's take a look at that, right? So you could use these system generated fields for that process. Filtering, so in addition, you have each column header. You click on the column header, it sorts ascendingly, descendingly. By default, you'll see the limit down here. So for database performance and system performance, we usually default to 25 documents in a page. You're going to notice down here, it will say 122 records found, but it's in five pages. So if I wanted to, I could just type in 122, enter, and it's going to return all those documents in one shot. Okay. All right. So let's go back into our HR example here, and let's open up one of these documents, and you're going to see this related documents section here. Okay. So what we're doing, and the way to set this up, you have to have content rights capabilities. But to search and find all its related documents, you're going to notice here employee name field. And I have this little icon called related. And you notice that it's black. So I can enable this on multiple. You do also have all sorts of custom stuff you can do here. But simply put, any document that has John Smith as the employee name show here. And you notice it's showing all the John Smith stuff. Now, if I go back into my search and I look for Brent, okay, and search for that, I'm going to have quite a few more. So if I go into Brent, you're going to notice I have quite a few documents. So again, it's using the employee name field to link to other documents. So a lot of people want to get one document in for Brent and then add pages. That's a lot of work. Just bring the documents in and tag them with Brent Wessler, and they'll automatically link together through what we call related documents. If you don't see this related documents section, that's because you haven't enabled related documents, as you see here. Okay, so that is basically the search capability. Now we have 15 minutes left. I know it's kind of hard to go through all of this so quickly. That's why we offer the free training. So if you have specific things you want to learn about, let's get into those particular things. All right, so we're going to do edit and output, okay? So here, what we want to do is how can we manipulate documents? What are the different things that we can do? So you have, you notice here, it's an older screenshot. So this actions menu is now the 3 dots, the ellipse, they call it, ellipse button. So let's go into some of these capabilities. So the ability to merge documents, you can assign to multiple folders, those types of things. And then how can you output documents? So let's look at the different output capabilities and what you can do from the results grid versus what you can do from the document viewer control. So let's go in. We're going to first show the difference of batch, things I could do, like I want to print 10 documents at a time versus things I can do singularly. We'll get into some annotations. We'll show some of the output options and then do a little version control. Okay. So let's take this particular document. So a few things here. One, editing this particular document. If you're in a document, you're going to notice the ellipse button again. You have, if I want to add documents, you have the import. Import allows you to browse out, and I can say, add this, and I want to append it to the end, or I want to insert it between pages 1 and 2, or I want to replace the thumbnail, in this case, page 1, with this value. So I'm going to hit append. This is going to now add that 3rd page. Okay, and you're noticing here it's image processing. This is part of that client where it's now processing, and you see it in PDF. This is a PDF, but you're going to see that this will be rendered so that I can do different manipulation type things. So you'll notice here, I'm waiting for that 3rd page to be rendered. Once I've done that, if you right click, you're going to notice here now I could do all this different page manipulation type stuff. So I can go, to this document. If I want to take page 2 and make it page 1, I just drag, drop, reorder, and basically page 1 is that. Okay. Now you could use your shift or control keys. You're going to notice when I do that on the thumbnail, there's this blue background. Now, when I do that, I could use the move to new document. I can, move to new document, and it will show what pages, and it will actually move this particular document out of that particular document. So basically, it will move page 1 into its own document. You could also do this through a scan. So desktop scan, you'll see the scan, and I can do the same thing you just saw importing with a scanned image. Okay. All right. Some of the annotation capabilities, you have redactions. So I can come in and say, I want to redact certain information. As you see here, I can redact certain information. I could highlight certain information. I could put sticky notes. Sticky notes and anything that's text-based is searchable. So if I was to search for text-based is searchable, it's going to find that and highlight that on the screen for me. Okay, so you have the full annotation capabilities here. Okay, output-wise, you have the ability, and you see now it's called share. So you have email and save a copy. These used to be in just a list, but you'll notice share, and now we have the ability to email, print, email, and export. So if you do have the Microsoft Office integration, which we showed you, which was installed as part of the client, you're going to notice here it will pull in all your Outlook contacts, and you'll see this open in Outlook button. Now you'll notice your by default, it's view. We want to attach the document. If you do select more than one document, it will zip it by default. I don't want to do that. I just want to attach a PDF so I can send as an attachment. And you'll notice native. Native means that it will export what it was brought in as. If it was a Word document, it will be brought in as a Word document. It will be exported as a Word document. If it's a Word document, but I want to convert it to PDF on export, I could select that. Now notice when I went from native to PDF, all of these checkboxes are now available because we're rasterizing the image now. So that redaction I put on the social, I can enable. So on output, it makes sure that it outputs with that. Okay. Now you can also put a password on that, if it is a PDF. Now you notice this is grayed out because this is a direct link. You have to be a Docstar user. So as soon as I come in and select a user, I'm able to send a direct hyperlink. This is way better. If you're using any type of PHI or PIN information, instead of physically attaching a PDF in clear text in an email, which isn't HIPAA compliant, you could send a link. The link would then be clicked by the user, they authenticate and see the images. Okay. And you'll notice you have your two options here. Send uses SMTP, which is our, if you're on our cloud, that means that the email is going to come from one of our email addresses. You're not going to see it in your Outlook email inbox. If you use Open in Outlook, this will now start Outlook, and you'll see here's the document, and here's the link to that document that I just talked about being sent to that person. This will show up in your outbox. Okay. So those are different things you can do from there. Now, we've been focusing strictly on the document viewer and the specific things you can do here. Now, if you go to the search, this is the search results. You're going to notice you could select multiple boxes here. So say, for instance, I wanted to print all 5 of these. I can come up here and hit print, or go to my share and email all of these. So when you want to output or edit multiple documents, you're going to do that from here, okay, from the search button. Okay. Now, you do have the ability to do merge here. So merge isn't available in the doc viewer. It's available here. So if I wanted to merge all 5 of these documents, what happens is the top level node becomes the destination document, the source document. So these 4 rows underneath it would be merged in to the application for Brent Wessler. Okay, so it won't maintain the indexing data. It will maintain the indexing data of the top level node. Okay. You also have the ability to download. So I can save a copy and I can download a bunch of them. By default, it's going to create a zip file for us. But I can also, this is available in all of the different output, print, email, well, not print, but email and save a copy, create a single file. So I want to take these 5 individual PDFs and I want to make one PDF of all 5. It's a nice little feature. Okay. And then global replace. So for instance, if we were to go back in and I was just going to run my search here, we'll do an employee name search. So say, for instance, Brent Wessler is now Brent Smith. You're going to notice you do have to have this permission right, but you're going to see this little pencil icon. So if I was to select all of the check boxes and I say, Brent is now Brent Smith, I could do a global replace. So I don't have to go into every single record and manually change it. So it's called, I think we're called manage columns or manage custom columns. This is that pencil icon functionality. It's only available, it's not available on all fields, but typically any custom field as well as like title, which is out of the box. Okay, now you can edit the metadata here as well by hitting the pencil icon. That's just so you don't have to, it saves you 2 clicks. So instead of double clicking, you can just click the pencil icon, hit the cross through thing if you don't want to make a change, click the save icon if you do want to make a change. So that's a benefit to having these custom columns is you can edit the metadata in line within the result set. All right, so let's we'll do a quick search here for disclosing party. We'll come up with our NDA contract here. Now, when we're searching, as you see here, using disclosing party, this actually has a text layer to it. So if you go to show and you go to hits, you're going to see the text layer and where it finds disclosing party on that text layer. Okay, so this is what we call keyword searching. So again, that's under the show. You can see the document text. If you do hits, it will show everything. If you just do document text, it will show this document text layer. So this is the OCR'd data. Now, to check out and change this, we have the versions area here. You could do this. You can also do it in versioning, same thing. So I can hit checkout. And when I do that, you're going to see Word will start to blink. There it is. And we'll come in here and we'll say this is, we want this to be 2026. And we'll say VRC webinar. And then at the top, you're going to notice here I have this check-in section. So I'm going to hit check-in. And again, authenticate myself. Okay, and you're going to see complete here. So it's complete. I can close it. And now if we go to our versions, you're going to see version 1 and version 2. Now, notice version 2 is blank because it's rendering that Word document so we can see it. Now, when we get into versioning, you do have the ability to delete that version or unpublish it. You also have the ability to promote a previous version over it. But it's very easy to see. So here you see both versions, VRC webinar, and I changed the actual date of that particular item. Okay, so that's version control, and that is the difference between edit and output options within the core document viewer. And you see here, again, you can only take action on this specific document versus the search tab. And you notice the difference, like it used to be retrieve, and you couldn't go between the view and the search results. Here, now I can see the document I selected and then go to search and actually see the search results as well. It's a really nice, handy feature. Now, when I click on another document, the view tab changes and go back. So this is a nice new capability within the system. All right, so I'm going to keep it at that. We're almost at an hour. That is time for us to open up the chat. Are there any questions out there? Let's see. We have a bunch of questions. Should EPICOR have the search and view tabs now, or does that come? Yeah, so what you're seeing here hasn't been released to our cloud. Okay, that's going to happen at the end of March, maybe the first week of April. You're going to get a notification. If you aren't receiving notifications about this, you need to email Hannah Barrett. She's on this webinar, and let us know who needs to receive that. She has MailChimp. That's how we manage your notifications out to everyone. Do you have to use the tiles? No. Are they only in the search field? Yes. So those tiles are only seen in the search tab, and they're only available in that search, but you don't have to use tiles. That's just a checkbox of whether you want to use that or not. Yes. Can you export to CSV from a workflow? I will say you have the ability to export. So from here, if I select the documents I want, you'll notice this export to CSV. This will allow you to export the data into a CSV file that you see here. And whatever metadata you show, the columns on the screen will show here. Currently, the URL doesn't work, but you would have the ability to see the metadata associated with it. Are there two search buttons still independent? The one at the top bar and the one, yes. I'm glad you pointed that out. So up here, this whole area is mutually exclusive from up here. They're totally separate. Okay. When does this become live? My docs are right. So this is at the end of March. The end of this month, you're going to see it like this. Okay. The reason we wanted to do the webinar is to make sure you at least understood the changes before we release them. but it's not a huge change. As you see here, most people just basically search in the search bar. If it's only for, I'm asking if it's only from workflow, not, okay. So if you, the nice thing about searching is you could actually use the workflow name is equal to like AP invoice. So say for instance, instead of doing it here to export to CSV, because there really isn't an export here, what you would do is you'd use the search and you'd say, give me the workflow name is AP invoice. Let me find something that actually has something contracts. I have something contracts, right? And then I could add, you know, where workflow is active, where workflow active is true. So that means that these are all the contracts that are in that workflow. And you can see then you can export these to CSV. So you'd use the search dialog to use the workflow fields and then export them.